Duh. Hello, and welcome to the Rock Metal Podcast. I'm your host, John Harris, and on my right-hand side is my right-hand man, Gabriel, who's going to be our assistant engineer today.
And my mom's baby, by the way.
Toothless, who I've got on the show with me right now. They've got a new EP called Misinformed, which is available, and right now I'm being joined by Travis to share some stories about the music, share more info about the band. So, Travis, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, John.
Absolutely great to have you on. Now, oddly enough, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you made this connection, but I just think Toothless, Grinner, and...
totally unintentional, honestly.
Now, I'm curious, when it comes to the track Grinner, what is this track about? What is a grinner? Is it like the Joker?
So the visual I had in mind when I came up with that title was someone sort of just like smiling and going through everyday life and like not thinking too much about it, just smiling, like henceforth Grinner. You know, they're just grinning about everything. Who cares? But I mean, this song visits like a few different topics, but the one thing that I really had in my head visually was somebody that's living this double life, and they're going through this internal struggle of, so I guess, so when I was writing this, the lyrics for this, have you watched, the series, The Americans? About like the Cold War spies?
No, but this sounds fascinating.
It's pretty sweet. Definitely recommended. But so this, like, the characters in that go through this character arc where they're these Russian spies in the U.S. and obviously their mission is like for their country, but as they stay in the U.S. for so long, they start to develop these, like, they actually have a family and they go through like parenthood. So their life starts to conflict with their mission. And that's just one of those little seeds that I had in my head when I was writing this. And I just think that conflict and that struggle is just so like powerful. That influenced a lot of the lyrics there.
Wow. I mean, mind-bending, if you think about it.
Yeah.
You know, especially with that particular regard. How do you salute the Soviet Union while at the same time living amongst the evil capitalists and taking... Yeah. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, that series is really... It twists you up.
I bet. Now, when it comes to the track, kind of have a couple of themes. We have that mind-bending theme. We have what I kind of noted as an ignorance is bliss sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, I just read this whole treatise on a philosophical thing of trying to define bliss and how it can't be defined and whatever. But when it comes to the track, I noticed that it has a note that it's featuring Justin... Is it Bonnets?
Yes, Justin Bonnets. Yeah, he is the vocalist in a band called Tala, and he's also got a couple projects that he's in. Yeah.
Cool. So take us through how he ended up on the track, and I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So Eric, who is our bassist now, he used to play guitar in Tala, so that's actually how. Justin and I met. So we played a few shows with Tala, and Justin is such an insane, unique vocalist. He actually has a pretty strong YouTube following. He does a lot of vocal covers and videos online. And we at some point, Eric mentioned Justin possibly doing a vocal feature while we were in the process of writing the EP, and he was all about it. And so I was really, really excited about that because Justin's vocals are just so unique and dynamic. So when I was writing Grinner, I wanted to write something that really showed off like his whole range and just like how wild he could be.
Very cool. So obviously you showed him the track and he was on board with it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he was super pumped.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Yeah, that is awesome. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, well, we wanted this singer to work on it, and they didn't like the song, so we came back with another one, and they didn't like the song. And finally, like, third or fourth song, they're like, all right, now we're talking.
Yeah. There's a funny story. Now, I know you shouldn't message like an artist directly. So, like, you should always go through their management if you're trying to get them on a feature or something like that. If they're like a big artist. So I'm sure you're familiar with Lamb of God.
Mm-hmm.
I messaged Randy Blythe on Instagram on his personal page.
And how did that go?
He blocked me, which I totally understand. No hard feelings. But it's something we joke about once in a while. It was sort of one of those things I just did just to see what happened. And yeah, it ended up sort of like how I expected.
Mm-hmm. That's funny. Yeah, true story is because they're about to come out with an album, and I know their management. I'm trying to work out through their management to get them on the show. But
yeah, I'm sure it's tough.
Surprisingly, it can be.
Yeah.
You know? But for those who dug the track Grinner, we'll be super excited to know that there's a music video that accompanies the track. So if you go to today's show notes at www.therockmetalpodcast.ca, you can go ahead and check it out. Now, I guess I'm kind of slightly curious. On the EP, Misinformed, we've got 3 tracks, and Grinner gets the music video. Why is that? Did you guys just think that it was the most banger of the banger out of the whole thing?
In a way, yeah. So that's the only one that has a music video so far. There are plans to do other ones, but that was sort of the song we wanted to put into the forefront, just because it's so wild, and I think it's a good taste of just that flavor of us, if you know what I mean. And also, just Justin's feature is so cool. So we really wanted to put that out there.
Beautiful. All right. Well, let's go ahead and listen to the next track, The Neighbors.
The Neighbors!
All right. Come back from the track, The Neighbors. Now, this almost sounds like gossip a little bit here, Travis. What's going on with The Neighbors?
The Neighbors, that's another one where it's not just about one thing, but I had a lot of things in my head as I was writing those lyrics and just like sort of planting seeds of different themes. And I'll come clean with this one. The reason I actually started writing that first line, so my girlfriend and I lived in an apartment for about a year. And we had an upstairs neighbor that we tried to get along with and try to be friendly with, but for some reason just wanted to completely avoid us. So that inspired maybe a line or two of that, but it definitely evolves from that, and it's not just about that. So
okay. I don't know. For some reason, I envisioned like a line about trying to borrow baking ingredients. You know, like I just wanted a cup of sugar. Why couldn't you give me some sweetness back? Or I don't know.
That was in there for a little bit, but I decided to take it out.
Yeah. Hard to rhyme sugar and not really, but you know, a metalcore song doing R&B hits or something.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Sweet. All right. Now, for those who dug the 2 tracks, Grinner and The Neighbors, will be super excited to know that there is a full EP called Misinformed, which features another track called Timeline Eroded. Now, I guess my big honking question, Travis, is out of the 3 tracks, why these 2 to mostly feature today?
Well, I'd say the majority of our sound is more like what you're going to hear in The Neighbors and Grinner. Sort of just that chaotic metalcore, like those elements of mathcore. Timeline Eroded is more of, we do like to explore that sort of dark and melodic side, sort of like those cleaner parts of Norma Jean and just bands like that. But Misinformed, the first 2 songs are more representative of what you'll hear with the rest of our catalog, I'd say.
Okay, cool. Now, approaching then Timeline Eroded, tell us about that track.
Yeah, so that track, it's more drawn out. I think, I forget the runtime on it, but it's definitely longer than the other 2, for sure. So This one, yeah, we did try to go a little bit more epic. Sort of sounds like a cheesy word, but it's more of like an epic, melodic, like more powerful sound. Thinking of it as there's probably more post-rock and like post-metal influence into this. And the theme is a little more direct as far as the lyrics go. But yeah, this one is the only one on the EP that has clean singing in it. I really personally dig like sort of eerie, atmospheric singing harmonies. I think they sound really cool. That's something we're probably going to try to incorporate a little bit more.
Cool. Now that actually brings me to a really cool question, which is, since you said, trying to incorporate a few other elements a little bit more, I guess from the stepping stone that is the EP Misinformed, what's coming up next for Toothless?
Well, we've been writing this whole time. We've been in lockdown working on some song ideas. But I think our target is to hit a full length and try to get that out. Most likely early next year, if not probably like into the middle of the year. But we had such a good time recording at Silver Bullet Studios. We recorded with Greg Thomas and Chris Teddy there. And our experience there was so awesome. We're probably going to head back there to record that full length. And once we can get back onto the road, we'll be back out playing shows. We just bought a van in February, but it's been parked in the parking lot since we can't really go anywhere. But yeah, I mean, once the world's back to normal, hopefully we'll be finishing up our full length and getting out to play shows near you.
Yeah, very cool stuff. Well, is there anything else aside from that? Anything that I didn't bring up that you wanted to chat about?
Not that I can think of, really. I mean, I'll just take this opportunity to say that I'm so extremely thankful for everybody that's been supporting us, that's been checking out the EP. And yeah.
Cool. Groovy. All right. Well, Travis, thank you so much for coming on to the Rock Metal Podcast.
John, thank you for having me.